Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
All right, it is 11:05 on the Lock Shop. What's going on, everybody? It's Dusty and Huss with you. Lock Shop brought to you by our great partners over at Coolbet. If you have not yet signed up for an account at Coolbet, please do. Just go to coolbet.com, use the code LOCKSHOP when you sign up. You get a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. Paul from The Rock in the chat says, guys, tune in is down again. I see a few guys over on YouTube saying, hey, guys, the listen live on iHeart and tune in are not working. We are having some issues today. I've been going back and forth all morning with the guy at the website. And the latest thing is that they are, thank you for sending that over. We are currently investigating the S4 streaming pool to see if there are any issues. Ugh. Huss, this is tech issues. This is not, it drives me nuts. Like, I could listen on TuneIn fine for the last 2 hours. Some people can't listen on TuneIn today. I had trouble getting on iHeart. Some people listen on iHeart fine. I don't know what's going on, but they're giving me a bloody migraine today, buddy. I'm not going to lie.
Hot seat. Yeah. Matthew Iwanek.
Oh, that's what Matty doesn't seem overly concerned about it, but we'll have to get it figured out at some point. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, listen, that sucks, but I'm glad to see everyone here hanging out with us on YouTube for sure, and wherever else they can get it. You can always count on the YouTube stream. The most fun place to be. Get in with the chat, with the nasties. Fire up the DGen Den. By the way, I'm sure you guys touched on this yesterday, but a special thank you to the DGen Den for that incredible 15-1 banger on the weekend, which had a college football game, 3 NFL games, and a Spanish soccer game with both teams to score. One of the epic DGen Den parlays of all time. I was on it. So thank you very much. It made up for the miserable performance of the Seattle Seahawks in that game. You know, listen, I know we're going to talk last night's Monday Night Football, but this game on Thursday night, Dusty, fascinating tilt in that the Seahawks and Niners both were brutal.
Yeah, they were
Sunday. Like, I mean, listen, the Niners were up big, but again, they got a 6 points on defense, and then to blow a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter is something that Shanahan had never done before. And I'm still scratching my head at just how bad the Seahawks were. I mean, they had no business even being in that game, and I know they ended up getting there, and there was a kick to tie it up late. I would have taken it, but they were horrible. And to think that they lost to the Giants without Neighbors, without Devin Singletary.
That's a great point.
And you know what? Credit to Danny Dimes. He actually played a really strong game without any weapons around him. But the Niners are 2-3 right now. You lose, you're at 2-4, and all of a sudden we're talking about, where they go from here. And it doesn't seem like McCaffrey's on his way back anytime soon. So very intriguing Thursday nighter, but pretty fun Monday nighter last night. Still on top. And how about that? We finally had a 5.5 point favorite cover last night, and guess who it was? The Kansas City Chiefs.
Without Patrick Mahomes throwing a touchdown. They don't even need him to throw touchdowns anymore. That's how good they are, Huss.
How about that thick pick by former Chief?
That was pretty cool.
Last night.
That was funny. Good for him. The thick pick is a great handle. Imagine if it was a thick pick 6. That would have been even better. Man, they just they find a way. Like I love the memes last night of like, what year is this? Because Juju and Kareem Hunt were leading the way last night. Like Travis Kelce was good. I had him on over for the yards, over on the receptions. Started really hot, so that covered it. But Juju and Kareem Hunt, as a Chiefs fan, what's it like watching those two guys run it back?
I mean, the Kareem Hunt is awesome. Listen, he was cut from the team for obvious reasons, but I think he's done a pretty good job at, staying clean, doing what he's had to do to get another opportunity. And that opportunity came out with the Pacheco injury. he was great last night. I mean, he looks like he's still got some tread left on the tires. And, with Kansas City and where they're at right now with Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice out, I mean, it is going to be a different sort of looking offense. We saw a ton of tight end usage last night. Noah Gray, I think all of a sudden is absolutely playable if we're talking fantasy, even knowing that Travis Kelce's going to get his. And Kelce was awesome last night. You knew that he'd have to step up and do what they do. Saints, for their part, though, I mean, to me, I think that game completely turned on that first pick that Derek Carr that Carr threw. I mean, throwing off his back foot, trying to get it out of bounds and just wasn't able to do it. I mean, you can't just toss one up to a defense like the Chiefs have and expect that to not be picked. And from there on, they kind of never really turned back. As they say, that pick late in the game by Saunders kind of made the game closer than you thought that it was. And man, they came back and then they kicked got the touchdown, albeit they missed the extra point to pull it within 3. But KC came right back, put it in the end zone, and that was pretty much curtains. And then there were 2 5-0 teams, the Chiefs in the AFC and the Minnesota Vikings, who we were all on, which made me quite nervous. Usually when we're all on a side, it doesn't go well. But they got it done, and certainly different expectations for these 2 teams right now. But Vikes are just a great story, and they've got, I believe, the bye coming off of their trip out to London, and we'll look to they'll stay undefeated for at least one more week because, as I said, they're not playing this week.
Here's what I got laid out. We were kind of diving into the Monday Nighter already. We'll take an early look ahead at Week 6 lines in the National Football League. I was hoping the MVP lines might be back up. I'm very interested to see where those numbers are at this week after Week 5 with the performance that Lamar Jackson had. I mean, he was absolutely phenomenal this week. I'd be very curious to see where those lines end up. I don't see the NFL lines, the MVP lines reset just yet. We did put together an early bird special on the Nielsen show today. That is Bills money line, Packers money line, Bengals money line. Cincinnati Bengals simply got to have that game against the Giants. I mean, if you can't beat the Giants and you go to 1-5, I don't even know what you're supposed to do the rest of the season. It's wild to me. Like, they've lost some close games to some really good teams, which is the same thing we said about the bloody Edmonton Elks through the first 7 games of their season. Like, is Cincinnati, do they just not finish? What's the deal with the Cincinnati Bengals? What's going on here?
Well, they looked a hell of a lot better on the weekend offensively. I mean, I kind of feel for Joe Burrow. He throws for 1,000,000 yards and 5 touchdowns and still loses.
He's got like 12 touchdowns and 2 picks on the year, and his team's 1-4.
But in these close games, I mean, it comes down to execution. And, I mean, they needed to go the distance. They had the football, and they weren't able to turn it into points. And that basically handed the game over to the Ravens. So, yeah, I mean, that Sunday nighter, Bengals-Giants, is going to be a game that Cincinnati simply has to happen. I'm kind of surprised they're only 3.5-point favorites, but I guess it is on the road. The Giants looked good last week. I will be on Cincinnati in that game. Money line's only -182, actually. I thought that would kind of be in excess -200. But again, they found ways to lose so far this year. They got to turn that around. Huge game. And hey, while we're talking about the NFL, we don't see the Jets until Monday night. But they'll be on the sidelines without Robert Saleh, who got fired today by the Jets. I think we all knew who calls the shots. And he's wearing number 8. Can we just go with player coach now in the NFL?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it had to happen. Did it not have to happen, us? I mean, something had to give with the Jets.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't think that I don't think he was doing a particularly good job. Jeff Ulbrich is the interim coach. He is the defensive coordinator. So their defense needs to be better, though. I will say that. I mean, right from the get-go, I think their defense has been a little bit underwhelming. And then Aaron can blame whoever he wants. He threw a couple bad picks, including a pick 6 on the weekend, and they lost by less than 7. So you want to be better. It probably starts with him first, and then you can kind of look around the rest of the room.
That early bird special we put together today, myself, Trev, Benny, who's in Shadow and Trev this morning, and then Lieutenant Eric today. It's up in the combo cards already over at Coolbet. We are on the Packers at home, -238 against the Cardinals. We are on the Bills on the road in New York against the Jets at minus 143, and then on the Bengals at minus 182. So I don't know, interim coach bump for the Jets might be what screws us there, but Buffalo Bills got to pick up a win here as well after completely botching the final moments of their loss to Houston. Now, Houston did have some timeouts, as we talked about a little bit yesterday, but Buffalo, I mean, there was a great screen cap. I talked about it yesterday morning on the show. It was like, somebody's like, Buffalo lost this game in regulation. And it was like 1st and 10 with 31 seconds left. And and you're just like, how did you lose this football game in regulation? Like, it just.
I was just talking to Dunk for Winnipeg Sports Talk, and we were talking CFL, but at the end I'm like, hey, what's the mood of the mafia down there in Bills country? And he goes, we still can't believe what the hell happened at the end of the game. Like, how does that happen? And the other thing with Josh Allen, he hit his head pretty hard in that game.
He did.
They kind of said it was an ankle or something like that. And he was like 9 of 30 for 1 point. I mean, his worst passing game, something didn't seem right. But it was a wild week, and I'm putting Seattle on the list. Other than that, everything pretty good. And you had a good week where you're 3-1, I think.
What I missed on the Bills?
Let's see here. Yeah, you missed on the Bills.
Yeah.
I was 2-2. You're up to 500 now. You had Washington, you had Minnesota, you had Baltimore. All nice picks.
Okay, good. I needed a 3-1 week. It's time now. It's time to unleash the dragon and pump my. It's really funny. Like, a 3-1 versus a 2-2 is just so huge. It's just, like, it's one game, but it really swings that season-long record, man. Like, you just gotta find a way to grind out the 3-1s. That's it.
Yeah, and avoid the 1-3s.
Yes,
avoid
those
the
are killers.
1-3s or 0-4s. You got a lot of work left to do. But anyways, it's been a nice start. I'll look forward to Friday when we're making all our picks.
What about an early look at these lines, Huss? Is there anything that it's always nice to look at it early in the week and see if there's anything that we absolutely have to hop on because we're expecting some significant movement along the way. I'll just run you through these things. I mean, Seahawks, Niners, Thursday night, 3.5. Niners on the road, minus 3.5 against the Seahawks. Jags, 2.5-point dogs on the road in Chicago. The Commanders, plus 6.5 on the road in Baltimore. The Cards are 5-point road dogs in Green Bay. The Texans are 7-point road favorites going into New England. Tampa and the Saints off the books for now, but it's Tampa minus 2.5. The Eagles at home favored by 9 against the lowly Browns. The Colts are a 1-point favorite on the road in Tennessee. Denver, 3-point home dog against the Chargers. Steelers are a 3-point favorite in Vegas. Atlanta's a 6-point favorite in Carolina. Detroit, this was 3.5, I think, earlier today when I looked at it, but Detroit, a 3-point favorite on the road in Dallas. Cincy, 3.5 against the Bengals. And Buffalo, 2.5 on Monday night against the Jets. Is there anything that really catches you off guard there, Huss?
I wouldn't say anything that catches me off guard. Intrigued about this Colts-Titans game. I mean, those AFC South slop fests. That one's pretty close to a pick 'em. The most intriguing game, though, has to be your Lions at the Cowboys.
Big game.
And I mean, the Cowboys, I'm sure you guys talked about this yesterday. That Sunday nighter, the delayed Sunday nighter was bizarre. I mean, the Cowboys probably should have won that game by like 21. But, the inopportune turnovers that they made, I think they outgained them, Pittsburgh, more than 2-1. And yet Dak had to pull the rabbit out of his hat there at the end. Detroit coming off the bye too, getting ready to go down to Jerry World. That's going to be a great one. And I'll be honest, I think the Detroit's the 3-point favorite.
Yeah, Detroit's a 3-point favorite. Yeah.
Okay, that actually does surprise me a little bit, considering that they're on the road. But again, coming off the bye, maybe. And you said that was 3.5 at the start?
It was 3.5. I thought this morning when I was looking at these games when we were doing our early bird, I think it was 3.5. I could be wrong. Jake, I don't know if you're kicking around, you might know this better, but I'm pretty sure it was 3.5 this morning.
One line that I think I'm going to jump on that I think will get probably a little lower is the Cardinals at the Packers. like the Cardinals have been sneaky good and competitive right now. And I think we saw that Kyler Murray and that offense is finding themselves to do what they did against San Francisco. Really impressive. Although I think Jordan Love and what the Packers are doing is pretty impressive. But I think that'll be a close game. Probably look at, taking the points in that one. And then, I mean, the other game that I just can't wait to see, Jaden Daniels versus Lamar Jackson. This game, honestly, could be very, very impactful when it comes to the MVP. I know we don't normally talk about rookies in this conversation, but based on what he and the Commanders have done so far this year, he has to be right in the mix. I mean, potentially he would win if you made everybody vote right now. Obviously, there's a lot of football left to be played. And like people are going to remember what Lamar did last week. They're not going to remember choking against the Raiders at home a few weeks ago. It's very much recency bias when it comes to MVP stuff. So that could be the game of the week. And tell you what, the Commanders have just been so effective with their offense and efficient. I mean, they barely ever punt. 6.5 is a big number to hang against a team like that, although I do think people sort of view these teams in kind of different weight classes when it comes to the National Football League.
In non-rooting factors, like obviously Detroit-Dallas is my number one game of the week that I want to watch, but outside of that, it's not even close. Commanders-Ravens, settle in. That's going to be a phenomenal football game to watch. And we said it, was it yesterday? Maybe it was yesterday morning. Days and shows all lurk together. I think it was probably Mike Tanier on our show yesterday that basically said, like, if the Commanders can just show up against the Ravens, like, might not win, but let's say, you lose by 3, you lose by 4, you play a good game. It's a 35-31 game. That's going to go a long way for people continuing to take the Commanders seriously. Now, if they go in and get pumped, maybe that changes how we're looking at it a little bit. But I can't wait for that football game. That's going to be real nice. And it's at 52.5 total. And I'm pretty sure last week we maxed out at like 49.5.
Yeah.
So this is one of the bigger totals we've seen all season in the National Football League. So they're expecting big things. Like we got a 52.5, and then the Chargers Broncos game's 35.5. The Steelers Raiders 36.5. The Texans Patriots 37.5. I'm pretty sure they're probably expecting the Texans to get about 27 of those. So it's just, yeah. I mean, that's all over the board. You just don't see that 52.5 here. That's a CFL number. That's what that is. That's a CFL number right there.
I'll tell you what, bless the CFL, because 3 of the 4 games have totals over 50 this week. Mm. And where are you this week? What's the?
I've got what I'm calling the Provincial Pride Bowl between Edmonton and Calgary.
Oh,
yeah.
The Provincial Pride Bowl. Yeah, that's the Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, Saturday afternoon game. So I'll be whipping down, calling that game, then driving back Saturday night because both the kids have hockey at like 9:00 Sunday morning.
Oh, jeez. Well,
yeah,
at least
busy
you'll
weekend.
be able to make it. You'll be able to make it.
I'll be there.
How about them Bombers, by the way? Like,
your life, buddy. Even like last night with the Royals winning, I was like, of course the Royals win the night before Huss comes back to the lock shop. Like it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
You know what? I regretted, and thanks again to the guys for jumping in for me yesterday. We were down at the rink doing a bunch of stuff with a bunch of Moose players, and we did the show from down there. But being off site and being so busy, I got back late. I didn't even get a chance to see if they did cook up a little KC double in the exclusives, but the Royals to win and the Chiefs to cover. I did have the Royals last night. They were, let me just go to gotta love all this green in the settled bets. They were plus 125. And then there was the 5-point booster or the 5% multiplier, I guess, for that game, it being the game of the day. And then the Chiefs at 5.5 was just about even money, minus 102 for Kansas City at minus 5.5. And we were very close. We just needed Xavier Worthy to go for a few more yards and would have cashed the exclusive. But as I said, I'll take it. Overall, a very good day.
I was very bitter with Mahomes last night because I had the Chiefs to win. It was it was plus 163, just a little bet builder put together a Sunday night when I was watching the Sunday night or looking ahead. Chiefs to win. I thought it was very simple. I thought, there's no way this doesn't cash. You know how it works. I was like, this is automatic. Mm-hmm. Chiefs win. Travis Kelce over 5.5 catches, Travis Kelce over 60 yards or whatever it was, and then a Patrick Mahomes touchdown. That's all I need. One passing touchdown for Patrick Mahomes.
You know who did it against you? Kalen Saunders.
He was the guy. That was going to be a touchdown.
That little cheesy, cheeky little pitch to Kelce that they like to do, and he just got stuffed and then got the thick pick on the very next play. What a highlight that was. But we're back at it, and I'll tell you what, today this is a really fun day. NHL's dropping the puck. We've got a couple games there. All 4 series in Major League Baseball.
Before we move over to the other sports, the Wheel delivered Foster Moreau yesterday. Anytime touchdown score. The Wheel can do no wrong. I will never. Actually, I was on it yesterday. I bet it while we were doing Lock Shop. I just put $5 on Foster Moreau, paid 27. But can you believe it? Like, he was the one right next to Alvin Kamara. And when we spun it yesterday, we're like, it like hit the little thing here and Alvin Kamara, then went back to Foster Moreau. And we're like, no. And it ended up being one of the most bet touchdown props at Coolbet yesterday, because people are going to run with the Wheel. They're going to tail the Wheel, and the Wheel delivers maybe the both. Like, nobody has predicted a plus 450 touchdown score all year in the house callers, and the Wheel rolls in with a Foster Moreau. Like nothing you've ever seen before in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone would have the balls to throw a plus 450 in on the parlay. But it was a heck of a play by the Wheel. The Wheel's hot right now. Sometimes you just got to run with that. I'm surprised that Moreau even ended up on the Wheel in the first place. He was the last one possible for a spin.
He was he had the 14th best odds to score a touchdown last night. So he was the last one on the Wheel, but he made it. And I was at a meeting, and then I was driving. I was just about to drive home. I got in my truck, and my phone blew up, and I didn't even have to look. I knew Huss. Like, I looked down, it's like 7 text messages, a bunch of Twitter notifications. I knew. I didn't even have to look what it was. I knew Foster Moreau had scored a touchdown in my heart of hearts. I knew that's what it was, and it was just legendary.
Yeah, the chat was popping last night. I got a chance to use my Rizzler gift last night afterwards, and moving on at 5-0. A great night.
Who do the Chiefs get next?
The Chiefs get bye week.
Of course, 5-0 into a bye.
They're on the bye. And you know what? I was just thinking about it. Last year, Thanksgiving weekend, we went down to Minnesota and saw the Chiefs-Vikings game. You imagine if they were going at it this year on Thanksgiving, 5-0 would be awesome.
Chiefs go bye, and then the Niners.
Yeah. So, I mean, another big game. But as I said, the Niners are looking very different than I think what a lot of people expected. Just not able to hold on to leads at the end, and they've got a big one. The Niners will have some extra rest heading into that game because they're playing on Thursday. But of course, the Chiefs are off this week, so Andy Reid off the bye. Not a team that you want to be playing coming out of it. Did you have you taken a look at the CFL lines this week?
I have not yet. I have not. Have you?
I have only seen the Bomber Argo game. I don't know the rest.
Let me see here. Okay, so you've seen the Bomber Argo game. Okay, good. Don't look. You can. Guess
I won't.
Don't look.
I'm bringing up just the schedule. Okay. So
So you know the Argos are 3.5-point dogs going into Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a good line.
And that makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, you could maybe say that number should be a little longer considering what the Bombers have been doing to teams as of late. Bombers do still need to win one game to clinch the West Final at Princess Auto Stadium. If you can believe it, another sellout for the Bombers this weekend. And it's the same day, same night, same time as the Jets home opener. It's just been an amazing season right now. Bombers have a lot of momentum both on the field and in the stands. But yes, the Provincial Pride Bowl, Edmonton at Calgary. I got to think that Edmonton's probably the favorite. I'm going to go Edmonton -3.
Ooh, you're going to want to hop on this. The Elks are 1-point road dogs.
Really?
Yeah,
I think the Elks are just better than Calgary. I mean,
I think they are too. We'll see what happens at quarterback. Like last night, Jarius Jackson told Morley Scott from Ched on his show that he wasn't going to name the starter to keep Calgary guessing. And I was like, come wait a second here, man. It's a meaningless game. You announced Tre Ford 2 weeks before that first Bombers game. Like, what are you doing? What are you play tricks now? Play games like, what's happening here? So anyway, now I've heard like since then this morning, I've heard from some people that MBT's starting, and I've heard from other people that Tre Ford's starting. So the entire organization is, I don't know what's going on over there, but it seems kind of weird right now. So I think Tre Ford is going to start this game. I think Edmonton overall is a better team than Calgary. There's nothing on the line. I still plan on calling the hell out of this game. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be calling it like there's something on the line here. But yeah, I think at this point, Elks money line minus 102 would probably be the play, I guess.
Let's move to the game that really does matter. BC at Sask. BC's 8-8. Saskatchewan's 8-7-1. Sask with a win will clinch
West Semi.
The West Semi. Saskatchewan is at home. I'm going to go Sask. I'm going to go Sask -3.
Sask -1. So giving some Lions some respect here.
Well, I got more respect for Saskatchewan right now that where they're playing than BC. Like, who do you think is the biggest threat to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers right now?
Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
I think it's Saskatchewan.
I think the defense travels in the winter. Like, if Saskatchewan ends up coming here to Princess Auto Stadium, the Bombers will still be the favorite. But I do think that, their ability to, keep games tight. I mean, the Bombers are doing kind of what the Chiefs have been doing, except to the kind of these blowouts the last couple of weeks where they're in tight games. They find ways to get up. They know how to close them. Saskatchewan now with this defense, they're able to hang in these games. And I got a lot of respect for what Trevor Harris has done this year. To me, I wouldn't be surprised if BC can put up some points. I don't believe in their defense, though, right now. And I think for BC, if they lose this game and have to end up playing in Saskatchewan in the semi for a trip to Winnipeg, I have a hard time imagining BC the way they are right now, winning in Saskatchewan or winning in BC and getting to the Grey Cup by the third place spot.
Should be a great game, though. Can't wait for that one. And then you get the Red Blacks on the road in Montreal against the Alouettes, Huss.
Montreal minus 5.5.
4.5. It's 4.5. Montreal minus 4.5. So you're very close on that one. And we'll see how that game plays out. But coming down the stretch, I'm ready. I'm ready for the playoffs, man. Let's get going. Give me the West Semi. Give me the West Final. Let's go. Let's dive into these things. Very much looking forward to it.
You'll be coming to Winnipeg on one day, that's for sure. We just got to find out when it is. But I would expect it to be the 9th of November for a trip to the Grey Cup.
The DGen Den, Duck Dad's over there saying, guys, the DGen Den is cooking up a plus 1,600 banger. Get your napkins ready. It's feast time. I like that. Somebody else is suggesting that the Wheel is an early front runner for EST Rookie of the Year. Can you imagine it? The Estes next year, the Wheel wins Rookie of the Year. It gets up on the podium and we give it one good spin. That would be legendary. I like it. It's going to be a tough, Reed Wilkins, Hernan. These guys are all Rookie of the Year candidates. But if the Wheel keeps dropping plus 450 anytime touchdowns on us, it's going to be tough to top it. It really is.
Hey, speaking of EST, you mentioned Hernan. Is Hernan going to be with Tommy G for Oilers?
Let me throw this out there, Huss. As a programmer, what would you do?
Listen, I'm a Hernan guy. Since some of his rants after poor performances by both the Elks and the Oilers have been some of my favorite media and content that has come out of your city.
Oh, he's back, baby.
So,
he's back on post game. That's him and Tommy are reunited.
And handsome Tommy. I mean, it's the team we needed to reunite.
Well, we had so he had a good rant yesterday about Trey Ford because like there's some people around like online being like Trey Ford's a cancer in the room, and Hernan was like not having it. He goes, I was in the room for 2.5 years. Those are false facts. Like it was great. You should watch it. It was on his show yesterday. But he is locked and loaded. He's ready to go. The Latino heat is fired up.
Well,
now,
what did he have to say about all this stuff about Trey Ford refusing to go in?
I mean, that's coming from that too. Just like the quarterback decision this week, you're hearing different things from different people around the organization. Like there was a chat online. It was somewhere online on Twitter, I think, where Trey's wife like popped in and said, "None of this is true." Like, and Trey was just like, no, I did not say I would not take part in those passes. So there's been a disconnect with Trey Ford in the Chris Jones era, and Jarius was a Chris Jones guy, and I think it's continued, and I don't know how it ends right now. So we'll see what happens.
With everybody out. I think it ends with everybody out. New guys running the show, and your quarterback next year is either going to be VA. It's funny if Trevor Harris is a free agent coming up.
Yeah. Harris was here before already once, but what's that?
And Davis Alexander as well.
Yeah, there'll be some quarterbacks. I mean, there's going to be a nice little quarterback carousel this offseason in the Canadian Football League.
I know everyone loves Trey Ford, but if this team wants to get back to respectability, to be a playoff team, to have a chance at the Grey Cup, are you confident going in with Trey Ford as your number one quarterback that he's going to be able to guide that's going to lead you there?
Some people would be. I said this morning I'm not because we haven't seen it yet. Like he played 3 games this year. Like how are you supposed to know what he is yet? How can the organization know what he is yet? Really, one way or the other. I kind of think they lean him not being the guy. But yeah, I mean, I think the best plan of attack would be option 1, VA. I still think Trevor Harris has game. You put Trevor Harris with a good offensive line and the receivers that the Elks have. I mean, that would be. I'd definitely have some time for that. So we'll see what ends up happening on that front. Jason Leduc says, guys, the wheel comes up to accept its Esty, and it says, I have 4 speeches prepared. Let's spin to see which one I use.
Well, we could also lean into a little AI and like create a video of the wheel going up and actually. I am the wheel.
Yeah, you're right. I guess you could do that nowadays. That's kind of, if the wheel had a voice, who would it be? Bobcat Goldthwait? Remember that guy? Foster Moreau, like that type of thing. Like, I think that'd be kind of funny.
You should do. What about Coach O, Ed Orgeron? Remember him from LSU? the Coach O voice for the wheels.
We got to get a wheel AI voice. That's a good idea. Lots of fun stuff. All right, look. Let's quickly get to Major League Baseball playoffs, and then we'll dive into the 3-game slate. Not a bunch of bangers tonight, I think, in the National Hockey League, but 3 games to take a look at tonight in the NHL as hockey betting does return to the lock shop, which is exciting. But where are we at on Major League Baseball schedule?
Pulling for them. It's been such a fun series either way, and I think Citi Field is going to be absolutely bananas tonight. I mean, the Phillies may have a slight advantage with the starting pitchers, but I think I'm still riding with the Mets right now, and our Padres.
Yeah,
are looking quite good.
It's a Padres Met parlay here, buddy. That's what's happening again.
That's exactly what's happening. Now, do we want to add in a hockey game, or are we going to do a 2-gamer?
Should we do a 2-gamer in hockey anyway? There's some player props we can mix in hockey and stuff, right? Like, it's up to you. I mean, we could go one sort of 3-gamer combined, just take one of the NHL games. There's only 3 NHL games. You don't have to force our hand. If there's something we like unanimously in the 3 NHL games tonight, we can take that and throw it with our Mets and our Padres.
Well, I mean, I like Utah to win their home opener against the Blackhawks. They're minus 167. And I probably like Florida, to be honest. I think Korpisalo's getting the start. He was the first guy off the ice today for Boston. I know they just signed Swayman to that monster deal. But considering he hasn't been with the club, he hasn't been practicing or anything like that, wouldn't be surprised if they go.
It's as of 9:48 this morning, our time. Korpisalo was listed as likely. Bobrovsky is confirmed for the Panthers. Blues and Kraken unconfirmed. Binnington and Decord. Mrazek likely for the Blackhawks, and Utah Hockey Club unconfirmed on a Connor Ingram for tonight. God, it's nice reading starting goalies again. That's exciting. Yeah.
Tomorrow night, Jets Oilers kicking things off for 1 of 82. I'm looking forward to
That'll be good. That's a big lock shop tomorrow. So you want to go Utah, Florida on a NHL parlay?
I mean, well, we could either that. Like, if we just put those two together,
it's plus 164. It's for those two.
Plus 164.
Yeah, little boost gets us up closer 2-1 though.
Well, yes. I mean, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Do we want
or I mean, if we want to get really crazy, Utah, Florida, Mets, Padres is plus 749. That's kind of big. Look at that smile on your face, you sly dog. You look like the Joker there for a second.
I'm gonna probably bet it either way. The 4-gamer. But if we, what do the people say? Should we do?
You know what?
Should we take the big swing?
I say we could take the Panthers out and just go Utah with the Mets and the Padres, and that's plus 415.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Okay, let's do that. I'm going to put that other one back in there because I'm going to bet it myself anyway. But
yeah, if you want to add the thing, I'm going to.
Okay, so Jake, if you're there, and I think you are, Padres, Mets, UHC. That's the Utah Hockey Club. Utah Hockey Club, New York Mets, San Diego Padres for the Lock Shop Partner Parlay today. Big Uke says, guys, breaking news. The DGen Den Parlay is live at over 18-1. What are what are you sick puppies on? Where's this?
Let's see what we've got.
What do we got here? Here it is. I got it. The DGen Den 8 plus 1856. St. Louis on the money line, the Blues. Bryce Harper, total bases over 0.5. The Minnesota Lynx. The Ohtani total bases over 1.5. And Dylan, because why aren't you mixing in Dylan Gunther shots? Dylan Gunther shots over 2.5. Plus 1856.
All right, we got to do this. I'm in DGen Den after.
I'm going to come with you here too. Can you imagine if that bad boy hits tonight? Legendary move. Legendary.
I just love that I'm going to be going through WNBA box scores and
check them all.
How many shots does Gunter have? How many total bases does Harper and Ohtani have? This is a beautiful, but this is really what the Lock Shop is all about. So yeah, and we'll get that one up. I'm just putting out all Padres ML and Mets ML. What was it? Plus 415?
Yeah, it was something like plus 415. Yeah.
Before the boost. Looking forward to that. Did you get any last minute NHL futures in?
I did not. No, I was just on all the player props from last week. What's still up here?
I've been looking at all the trophies.
Oh, all the trophies are still up. Yeah.
Yep. You can basically look at Austin Matthews, heavy favorite for the Maurice Richard Trophy. Minus 115.
Well, minus. So Pasternak, Draisaitl, McDavid, right behind him. Which one of those three guys do you think has the best chance to snake it away from him, us or somebody else further down the list?
Kaprizov is kind of interesting. I would say Pasta. I mean, we already talked about the. I think that Leon and Connor. I don't think they're going to be flooring it, trying to win a bunch of personal trophies. I really do see an Oiler team that, gets their playoff spot, kind of establishes their position, and to be honest, maybe eases up on those guys. Over the course of the last few weeks of the season, I don't think they're in for one trophy this year, and it's the Stanley Cup. It's not the Rocket Richard or anything else. Past is just such a, he is the linchpin for Boston. So, I mean, I think at plus 650, he makes a lot of sense. Kaprizov is interesting. Nate McKinnon at 13-1. I mean, obviously he's a great player. How about your guy Hyman, 25-1? Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. Like Pasternak buried 61 2 years ago, right? So he's got that.
Yeah.
He's 47 last year, but he's got that. No, I mean, Hyman had a great season last year, but I think Pasternak's probably the best play outside of Matthews. But if you really like Austin Matthews, I mean, minus 115 is where you can get. That's got to be the heaviest of all. Oh no, McDavid on the Art Ross is probably he's better
minus
number.
154.
Minus 154. Ridiculous.
A bigger favorite on that. Edmonton even money to win the Pacific Division. There's no doubt that the Nasties have been hammering these lines, supporting the Oilers ever since they got up a little early on. What about the Calder Trophy? Michkov plus 325, Stankoven plus 450, Celebrini 5-1, Cutter Gauthier plus 550, Will Smith 8-1, Dustin Wolf 8-1. That's interesting. Although I don't know how many games he's going to win. Lane Hudson 10, Nikolai Kovalenko 22, Maverick Bork 25-1, and Rucker McGrory 25-1 as well. That Maverick Bork at 25-1 is actually interesting. If he was on any other team other than Dallas, he would have been in the NHL last year. He absolutely crushed the American Hockey League. He's ready to go. He's probably going to end up playing with some pretty darn good players. I'm going to see if we've got a daily
77 points in 71 games last year as an American Hockey League second-year player. He was a rookie the year before. I was looking at because Dallas, I think Dallas is Wyshynski came on the show, picked Dallas to win. Like, they've got Maverick Bork on the line with Stankoven and Jamie Benn at daily faceoff right now.
Two guys eligible. Yeah. Two guys eligible for the Calder.
Now, is he mixed in on either of the power play units? He's not. So that might hurt his chances a little bit. The other guy that, like, as far as the deeper odds go here, I'm just taking a peek here. So this Nikolai Kovalenko, what was his number? 22-1.
22.
So right now in Colorado, he's their second line left winger, playing with Casey Middlestad. But he is on their second power play unit as well. He put up pretty decent numbers last year in the KHL. He had 35 points in 42 games in the K last year. The year before that, he had 54 points in 56 games as like a 21-year-old in the K. Came over last year, played briefly in the AHL. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. Like, there's going to be some opportunity there for that guy, and he's 24 years old and has played pretty well in a men's league for the last couple of years. So I might sprinkle this Kovalenko at 22-1.
The Calder futures are fun. And, you can get a guy or two that, is a little lower down the list as opposed to some of these other ones. One other bet that I don't mind, Rupee Hintz, 7-1 for the Selke. Barkov's the favorite at plus 110. I think that, if you expect Dallas to be good this year, which I do, he's going to be playing big minutes. He'll be getting points, but he also is sort of the shutdown guy there in Dallas. And I think more and more people are going to sort of start giving him the credit for that. And if they have the season that many people think that they will, I think he's going to be top of mind for some of the voters. So I think there's good value there on Hintz at 7-1 as opposed to Barkov, who's just barely above even money.
Haas, yesterday you weren't able to join us because you're down at the rink getting ready for the Jets season. Tell us a little bit about that and maybe any early thoughts here on the Oilers and Jets tomorrow night. Well, obviously, we'll dive into it heavy tomorrow, but what are you thinking right now?
Yeah, well, what I'm thinking right now is we haven't seen Connor Hellebuck yesterday or today. He's dealing with some sort of a family thing. He is going to be on the plane, we've heard.
Okay.
So thank God for that, because if you want a real MVP of the National Hockey League, it could very well be Connor Hellebuck. I mean,
like the true MVP, right?
Yeah. Like like this team is screwed without him and they're good with him. I mean, that is the case. I mean, there's some disgruntled fans here that we're hoping that Brad Lambert or Shibrikov or Salmonson would crack the opening day lineup. Every single forward that's going to be skating for the Jets tomorrow was in the lineup last year. The only real change, it looks like Rasmus Kupari is going to get the fourth line center role over David Gustafsson. I have no idea why. But other than that, they're bringing it all back. We've lost Brendan Dillon. You lost Nate Schmidt. Heinola and Stanley are injured. So, I mean, I think there is expectations that maybe in the regular season there'll be a little bit of regression. No one will care if they're a better team in the playoffs, but first you have to get it. And I know Elliot Friedman was saying everyone that he talks to has the Jets not making the playoffs. Well, everyone except the sports books. And if you really want to know, if you want a take that is worth considering, it's what books are taking on teams. And the Jets are minus 200 to make the playoffs. So I still think they're going to be a playoff team. The big question is, will some of these younger players get a crack at some point this year? What's the future of Nikolai Ehlers? Is he going to extend? Or do they make some big moves in the middle of the season that significantly change where the team is at? And obviously we got a new coaching staff. So we'll be cooking up something for opening night. I have a feeling there might be dueling parlays from the WST and the EST accounts tomorrow for that one.
And what does the DGen Den put together for that game, eh? Like a 7-player prop.
I'm sure it'll be tied on like a WNBA rebounds prop. And
hey, that's why they're the DGen Den, Huss.
Hey, listen, if you would have seen me going through, first of all, trying to figure out what league Athletic Bilbao was from the soccer on Sunday, going, okay.
Didn't even know where you were looking.
Find it. And then it was the BTTS. I'm like, what did we bet again? Oh, yeah, both teams to score.
Yes.
And then going down the list. Anyways, huge moment for the Den. I'm already with you on that Den prop. And we'll get our 3-gamer up with the
It's up already, buddy. We got the Mets, we got the Padres, your Mets, our Padres, and the Utah Hockey Club at plus 476.
Oh, it's a thing of beauty. Let's cash one first day of hockey season.
Mixed in with a little baseball too, right? That's how you do it.
I've been loving the baseball playoffs so far, and they've been good to me. They have been good to me. The one game that I didn't bet the Mets was the one that they lost. So we're back on the Mets tonight. We'll get those individually. Mets minus 105. As we mentioned, the Padres minus 154. And Utah Hockey Club, they got to get a big win in their home opener tonight. I'm feeling pretty good about that one.
All right, Winnipeg Sports Talk. We had Dan Robertson on today. We chatted with Dan Robertson today. What a nice guy, real nice guy. Asked him, what's the deal with Lambert, buddy? I thought he's just not close. He's close, but not there yet.
Very close.
Yeah,
definitely very close. Like, there's a lot of people choked that he's not in. Now, can he just go in and play second line center right off the bat as a rookie? I mean, that might be a lot. And I think Vlad Nemetsnikov probably gives them a little more security in that position. I would have loved to have seen him start off on the fourth line. I mean, you can put a guy like Brad Lambert in 10 to 10 minutes or so a night with Alex Iafallo and Morgan Barron and allow him to sort of, get used to the National Hockey League without having to play in that 2C hole. And wouldn't be surprised if it happens relatively soon. Like, I'm far more partial to David Gustafsson than Rasmus Kupari. They're giving Kupari an opportunity this year. I mean, he played 28 games last year, had 1 assist. So I'm not sure whether this is more that, they need to find out what they have in this guy after getting him in the Dubois trade. But I think Lambert plays. It could be in 2 weeks. It could be in a month, but he'll get called up at some point. And I think when he does, he doesn't go back to the Manitoba Moose. And Elias Salmonson's another really talented prospect that's just come over. He's going to play here for the first time. He was last cut. He'll be heading to the Manitoba Moose, and will be one call away as well. So a lot of people didn't get what they wanted with a little bit of youth being added right off the top, but I think these guys are a lot closer than they were last year. We weren't really ever talking about bringing up young players from Manitoba to Winnipeg last season. I think we're on the verge of that with maybe one or more of those three players I just mentioned.
As always, buddy, great show today. We'll be back tomorrow setting up a huge game to start the season between the Edmonton Oilers and the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up in 5 minutes over on the WST YouTube channel. Right here, we've got two guys and a goalie with myself, Joaquin Gage, Matt Cassian, presented to you by GS Construction. We will reveal our consensus top 10 players in the National Hockey League. We will discuss Jeff Skinner being promoted to the third line just for one day before the beginning of the regular season. Raphael Lavoie on waivers. We'll play hired or fired. That's all coming up. What's that? What's that turn at 2-1? What's that mean? Oh, Trey Ford is QB1 in practice. All right. We've got that going too. So we'll have that discussed as we work our way through the day as well. Hustle, talk to you tomorrow, buddy.
Later, dude. We'll see you tomorrow. Game day, Lock Shop Bowl for game one of the NHL season. Can't wait.